Okay, today we're going to be dividing rational expressions. The example we're going to work with is going to be as follows. 36n squared minus 64 all over 3n squared minus 10n plus 8 divided by 3n squared minus 5n minus 12 all over n squared minus 9n plus 14. The first step in multiplying and or dividing rational expressions is to factor the numerators and denominators of each rational expression. So first we want to look and say, can we factor this? And we can. Remember, when factoring, first look for greatest common factor. And we do have a greatest common factor there, which is 4. So if we divide out 4, that leaves us with a 9n squared minus 16. And now we want to work on factoring this polynomial. It's a trinomial, so that means it has two factors. To find the first part for each of these, they have to multiply to give us 3n squared. So it must be 3n and n. And then two factors which multiply to give you positive 8, but they're going to add to give you a negative 10n. Since they multiply to give you positive but add to give you a negative, the signs both have to be minus. We can do some trial and error, but we'll find that 4 and 2 work. And now let's work on the next of these polynomials, which we have right here. Once again, we have a trinomial. So it would factor into two factors. Once again, what times what gives you 3n squared? We'd have 3n and n. Two things multiplied to give you a negative, so we know that we have to have a positive and negative in our factors. Well, what are two factors that multiply to give you negative 12? Positive 4 and negative 3. Now we can do our outer, inner check to make sure we got it right. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. So we have it right. And now we can work on our last trinomial. This one is probably the simplest. N squared has to be n and n. And then two factors that multiply to give you positive 14 but add to give you negative 9 would have to then be negative 7 and negative 2. Now we look to see, can we factor any more of these? Well, we can. 9n squared minus 16 is a difference of two squares. So that means that one is going to factor, but all of these others cannot, so they still stay as is. Well, what times what gives you 9n squared? 3n and 3n. Two things that multiply to give you negative 16. Positive 4, negative 4. So now we factored each part, and our last objective is we're dividing. Remember, you never divide fractions, instead we multiply by the reciprocal, which means that this will then become n minus 7 times n minus 2 in the numerator, and 3n plus 4, n minus 3 in the denominator. And our first rational expression doesn't change at all. It still is going to remain 4 times 3n plus 4 times 3n minus 4, all over 3n minus 4 times n minus 2. Now that we are multiplying everything here, we can now divide out. And we look for common factors. We have 3n minus 4, which divides out. We have 3n plus 4, which divides out. n minus 2 divides out, and it looks like that's all of the factors which divide out by becoming 1. Now we just write what is left, which is 4 times n minus 7 all over n minus 3, and we can get rid of the parentheses in the denominator. And this is perfectly fine to leave as your answer for me. You may go through and distribute the 4, and if you did that, you would end up with 4n minus 28 all over n minus 3. Either or is sufficient. And please feel free to replay this as many times as you need, and there definitely will be more to come. Thank you.